I like to say that success is knowing that your value to the world is greater than your fears. And I encourage people to know that there aren't a group of people that are successful and they've never been scared to take the leap. A lot of us that are successful are very nervous. They have imposter syndrome. They are shaking and not sleeping at night sometimes before they have a big event. But they step out anyway. And so I believe that everyone in this world has a unique reason to be here, a unique value to offer. And they just have to feel comfortable, or maybe not comfortable, to just move and progress so that we all can benefit from the greatness of who they are.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the peopleHum interview series. I'm Aishwarya Jain from the peopleHum team. peopleHum is an end-to-end, one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM, that's specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the peopleHum blog and channel that receives more than 400,000 visitors a year, and we also publish several interviews with well-known names globally every month. We have with us today Stacy Kirk, an advocate of quality and process innovation and software development for over 20 years. Stacy Kirk is founder and CEO of QualityWorks Consulting Group, an international quality-driven software consulting firm. Stacy has shared her expertise speaking at the following well-respected conferences, including Bold and Fearless Leadership, Women Who Test, and Fear-Driven Success, Wonder Women in Tech. She specializes in agile coaching, risk management, project planning and management, and quality innovation in all areas of the software development process. With that, let me once again welcome you, Stacy. It's really a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So Stacy, let's begin by talking a little bit about what you're currently doing with QualityWorks Consulting Group. And, if we could just dig a little bit into your history as well. Did you always have an interest in technology?
I believe so. I don't know if I was born with an interest in technology, but I was fortunate at a young age to be introduced to computers in elementary school and a little bit of programming with Logo. And I found it, and maybe this is my type A personality, I found it very empowering and exciting to know that I could write something on a computer and then the computer would do what I told it to do. And so from an early age, I asked my parents for a programming book, and being that I was a little bit of an introvert, I spent a lot of time figuring out how to make the little turtle move around the screen, and that kind of just blossomed when I went to high school and took some real computer science classes.
Wow, that's wonderful. So, right now what you're doing with QualityWorks Consulting Group, is it kind of, it's blossomed you into something that's, something that you always envisioned?
Yeah, well, I didn't know what computer scientists did in high school, and even in college for a while, I was a little confused at the career paths. And I had the fortunate opportunity to do a software testing internship. And I found it to be extremely interesting, very challenging, and very much in need of innovation. And those three areas really kind of launched my career. I wanted to be able to use the software development skills that I had, and I wanted a better way of how we develop software as a whole. And I figured the hat of QA at the time was one that allowed for access to not only the developers, but the business analysts at the time. And I wanted to be able to kind of have my hand in a little bit of everything that it takes to make really good products. And over the years and experiences that I've had in corporate America as an executive, I wanted to be able to now deliver that to smaller, mid-sized companies that maybe wouldn't have the opportunity to be able to have the best practices and innovations in testing. And so that's what I started QualityWorks for, to help find a better way for how we deliver software as a whole. And it blossomed more than just testing. We're known very often for our software testing expertise and innovations, but really at the core, we want better products. And so that means we have to have our hands in more than just that. It's not just testers that make great products. There's developers, there's product owners, there's UI, UX, there are DevOps, operations, all come together, security, that come together to build something great. And so for us to really stand by the way of making better products, we have to have a little of all of that on our team.
Wow, that's really nice to hear. And I think it's quite a noble deed that you're looking at. And I wish you all the best for that future.
Thank
And
you.
what I also kind of, read in your profile that back in 2015 you did expand QualityWorks in the Caribbean, and that was one of the fastest growing tech companies there. So during this whole project, what would you say was one of the most challenging aspects of growing as a tech company? Because there are so many nuances to it. You have to take care of every single aspect, including your team and team collaboration. So how do you think you kind of handled all that?
Yeah. Well, I thought it was maybe weird at the time, but I think it's one of the most valuable things that I did. Even when my company was only one person, myself, I decided to lay out the core values that I wanted my company to have no matter what the size. And that included quality, integrity, being results driven, entrepreneurial spirit, innovation, and teamwork. And every person that I hired, every person I interviewed, if I didn't see and I didn't feel that they had those core values, they were a no-go. It made hiring easier. It made growth easier. It built our culture, our family-like culture that we have not only internally, but with our clients who feel that we care, that we call ourselves a family, and they feel like it's a family. And so I think the biggest challenge for me in growth is well, gosh, there's a lot of them, but it's making sure that I stay true to those core values. And every once in a while, as you grow as a business and you have different partners and different opportunities, sometimes those core values are questioned and challenged. And so I think the biggest difficulty is making sure you stay true to it. But we have, and I think that's what's made us very unique and valuable for what we bring to our clients and what we bring to the employees that work for us.
Well, I think I so appreciate that you have a core set of values, which I think is so important for every organization. And, typically when you go from being small to scaling up, it's very difficult to maintain those core set of values because otherwise it just gets dispersed and lost so many times. So I think it's wonderful that you really kind of concentrate and, keep that at your core. But also tell me, Stacy, that often when you have engineers, you have people working in the software team as such, and when they are suddenly given a role of being a leader, right? So what happens to them? Are they able to really grapple with being expressive and trying to, kind of really try and be a leader when they are so not used to, a lot of human interactions?
Yes. Well, we had so many great people that joined the team early on, and they were great at being consultants, great at delivering results, and they had the type of characteristics that made them equal natural leaders. And so moving them into leadership just seemed like a natural progression of their careers. But it isn't easy. And I don't think it was easy even for me as I became a leader. I was in leadership in my early 20s. I was just kind of bolted into it or jolted into it just because I was part of the .com craze. But it's very difficult. It's so different from writing code, testing code, which, you have an estimate on the time it'll take for you to get stuff done. And if you are action oriented type of person, results oriented, you can get it done. But people don't work that way. There is no right answer for how to lead each individual because everyone is very different. And it's something that we have leadership summits. I bring in people that are great with communication. One of the trainings that I gave early on was crucial conversations, because it's very difficult, especially for tech people who think in, binary, on and off, to be able to see those shades of gray. You want to say, you didn't get your work done, you are not doing well, you get an F. That's kind of how sometimes can be very direct like that. But there's always reasons behind it. So I'll say it is a challenge in terms of technology. But one of the things that I've been doing, I've been talking a lot about, and my team has been talking a lot about, is EQ. Really building that emotional intelligence. And it starts with being self-aware, understanding who you are before you go off and lead other people, because you definitely have a style, and that style is going to work very well for some people. I work very well with people that don't need a lot of I guess, ongoing feedback and like, go, you can do it. Some people don't love that. Some people hate it. Some people are like, I can't stand when you tell me all the good things, just move to the bad stuff. Right. So you have to know yourself. And we've been working on developing that with each one of our leaders, including me. I'm still working on it. So it's work in progress.
Yeah, I completely resonate with you, Stacy, on that one. It's just I've seen, tech people struggle with being more expressive and just trying to really, build that bridge between computers and humans and just dealing with all of that. And you have dealt with so many tech organizations over the past 10 years. Do you think there are some common mistakes that typically CTOs today make with respect to let's say decision making or even otherwise?
Yeah. Well, I think it's the same thing. We are programmed, or a lot of us in technology are programmed to just execute. We don't necessarily deal with some of the fuzzy stuff. In college, we called people techies and fuzzies, and all the techies were the people doing engineering, all the fuzzies were doing like liberal arts, right? But as a CTO or as an executive, we really are cut ourselves short when we only are hiring for people that have this immense tech skills. I've worked with developers, and I kind of prided myself over my career of evaluation of developers. It's one of my kind of hidden secrets to how well will this product turn out. When people ask me, Stacy, how long will it take for a QA to finish their testing phase? And it's something you can really never know, but I challenged myself to figure it out. And I had a developer quotient that I used to calculate that. And what I found is some of the people that had the highest level of um, intelligence, maybe IQ, and maybe technical knowledge, like they could code, or loops around most people, did not always deliver the most effective code. The code was hard to maintain. The code had bugs in it that they didn't test, because sometimes when you're too intelligent, you don't think you need to test your code. And I really found that it was the people that had some of that emotional intelligence, that were collaborative, that were working very closely with other people in the team, had empathy, that built the right type of products. So what I always encourage executives and CTOs to do is, if you don't have that in your developers, you darn well better have someone that is thinking about people and humans and empathy in the team from the beginning. And that's why I'm always like, shift testing left, have quality at the beginning of your testing cycle, not just so that testers move faster, but that you are having a more broad perspective on the type of products you build. And those are the products that get out on time, is when they really make sure that they have a diverse team from the beginning.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you also look for a very particular characteristic when you're hiring for tech?
I do. I have a list of things that I look for in tech. I hire for adaptability. I hire for curiosity, and I hire for grit. Um, Anyone that just hires for a technical skill is not looking for someone long-term. And I'm hiring for people that will work for me long-term. As a tester, it's nice to say, hey, do you know Selenium? And they go, yes. Okay, well, I'll hire you. Well, guess what? I'm pretty sure that a lot of things that are very hot and popular now are not going to be in 2 years. So I need someone that not only can use this, has a base set of skills, technical skills are important, but also is curious to figure out what's next. And because we're consultants, that's our job, is to be able to look to the future of what's coming out there and how is it better than what we're using now, and get our hands dirty in figuring it out. And being adaptable to say, I know you may have been using this technology for the last 2 years, but we're about to change and use something else. I mean, it's part of the core of technology, which always baffles me because there's a lot of people in tech that do not want to change their technology stack. And I'm like, but it's technology. It progresses, and so should you. So yeah, that's kind of some of the things I look for.
Yeah, that's quite insightful. And as you said, technology is, they say there's an 8-year period and it, keeps refreshing. So I think the tech stack is also important to just kind of refresh. So there are just so many things that you need to consider here.
Oh yeah,
Also,
absolutely.
I think an important aspect of yourself, Stacy, is that you're a highly successful woman leader. And I think that's inspiration to a lot of people out there, especially women who want to do something in tech. So, is there some advice that you'd like to give to some young women who are just kind of starting off on their journeys into tech, or they're just first time leaders?
Yeah, absolutely. A few things I recommend. One is identify your strengths, learn what those are. Often we don't know, especially women, I think we're very humble humans, and we don't necessarily know all the stuff that we're really good at. So find someone that can tell you that, not your mother or your best friend, because those people will lie to you. They think you're wonderful. You just came out perfect. But find someone that can give you very constructive criticism on what you're good at. And then look for opportunities to use those strengths, even if it doesn't necessarily perfectly align with what your dream vision job will be. If there's a project where you can use your strengths and be able to move your career ahead, those are great. Even if you don't know 100% of what you're doing, because no one, it's back to technology, nobody knows what they're doing. When you're building something, you're building it for the first time. It's a new invention. So don't be scared to try new things and to go after those projects. In terms of leaders, I recommend for you to have a mentor, but not a mentor that just tells you, hey, this is a better way to be a leader. Find a mentor that wants to promote you, that wants to kind of be your champion. And will work with you on building your brand of what you've accomplished, and then help you get to the next level. There's some stage where as women, we maybe don't progress to the next level. We may, I see a lot of managers, I see a lot of directors, I don't see a lot of CTOs. I've gone to meetings where I've been in a room sitting with 100 CTOs and I couldn't find one woman. So we have to make sure we are strategic about what it takes to become a CTO. And often it's about who you know and who is talking about you. Excuse me, not who you know, who knows you and is talking about you. So you have to have the right people that are going to mentor and promote you so that you can continue to grow your career as a leader.
Wow, I think that really, really helps, because I kind of, agree with you that CTOs, it's kind of a male dominated designation as such, which I think really needs to change. But have you kind of seen progress over the years in the number of women you interact with in tech?
No. I'm sorry to say. It's interesting because when you look at the numbers in the 80s, and I'm not a historian, that was my worst class in high school and college. But if you look at the numbers of women moving into technology, it's getting worse. There was a time when there was I won't say parity, but there were more women doing computers and computer science in the 70s and the 80s than there are today. I don't see it getting much better. I feel like we have more of a voice, but is that voice translation into the power of leadership? I still think we're kind of flat, and it still needs to be pushed forward a little bit more. So I want to sound more optimistic, but honestly, I want to see more women. I don't see them yet.
Oh, well, I think there's a level of awareness that needs to increase among a lot of people. So hopefully we can make a difference.
Yeah.
And definitely with your insight, I think there will be some impact. Um, and I think lastly, what I want to ask you is if you have any sound bites, any kind of personal advice for our viewers that you'd like to give.
Sure. And this is for anyone that is struggling and feeling a little uncomfortable about what's next in their career. Um, I like to say that success is knowing that your value to the world is greater than your fears. And I encourage people to know that there aren't a group of people that are successful and they've never been scared to take the leap. A lot of us that are successful are very nervous. They have imposter syndrome. They are shaking and not sleeping at night sometimes before they have a big event, but they step out anyway. And so I believe that everyone in this world has a unique reason to be here, a unique value to offer. And they just have to feel comfortable or maybe not comfortable to just move and progress so that we all can benefit from the greatness of who they are.
I love that, Stacy. I think it's so important to just get out of your comfort zone in order to progress in life. And I think that that kind of means the world to a lot of people. So thank you so much.
You're
That
welcome.
was amazing. I had a wonderful time, and I'm sure our audience will love this.
Thank you. I was happy to be here and to talk with you.
Thank you so much. Take care, Stacy.
Take care. Bye.